It's Monday, August 30th. Oh my gosh, like this year just flew by. So
Mhm.
today it's Monday. Like I said, we have these amazing guests that are going to talk about everything that they do. Of course, we always push positive Pacific Islander role models and businesses and everything amazing about people. And so, first of all, Koviki Talk is started. It's a multi series about everything having to do with COVID-19 and Pacific Islanders, education, where to get vaccinated, if you want to get vaccinated, where you can get tested, what locations, in what state, if you need resources. So everything and anything COVID-19 geared towards Pacific Islander, we have your information, or at least we try to, and we have wonderful people that come on and share their resources. So let me just start off by saying welcome, Kamalei Brown and Micha to Koviki Talk. We appreciate your time this afternoon on a busy Monday. So let me just introduce you beautiful ladies, before we start, and then we'll get to our icebreaker. So first we have Kamalei Brown, is of Tongan and Samoan descent. She's a treatment coordinator for her family company, Mana Training Consultants, that provides services for people with disabilities, certified trained foster and proctor care providers, and provide addiction recovery programs. They specialize in pornography addiction and psychoeducation. Kamalei is the co-founder of the nonprofit organization Polys and Mental Health, and a recent partner for the Global Shapers community. In these organizations, their goal is to break the stigma around mental health within our Pasifika communities and provide free therapy resources and education seminars for our people. Welcome, Kamalei.
Thank you.
Awesome. Next, we have Micha Falmasili. Misha is from Samoa and Poland. Ancestors are from Samoa and Poland. She is a Pasifika content creator on social media and talks about all things personal, Polynesian, and plus size. Yay! Misha is
Yes.
privileged to work with Kamalei and Ray on Polys and Mental Health as the executive director. Mental health advocacy is a passion of hers and is currently working on her degree in marriage and family studies, much needed. Professionally, she works as a direct care professional for adults with intellectual and development disabilities. Her hope is to continue to serve her people and remind others that they are not alone. Awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to get into everything that you ladies are doing and everything pandemic and COVID and anything that you want to tell me. I'm going to suck it out of you. But the first question that I like to ask both of you, which is usually our icebreaker, is if you can add anyone to Mount Rushmore, who would it be and why? And we'll start with Kamalei.
Wow, that's a good question. It's like so hard because it's like who is influential, so
Yeah.
influential you want them on a mountain.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of like Pacifica like influences. Like you've had like Joseph Saya on here. Like I love my dad. All the clinicians that we work with. I would just love to see representation in whatever form. I don't know if there's like one person that I
Yeah.
would want, but yeah, if it was like a loved one, like it would be like my dad or something, or
Yeah.
like a somebody in like the community that works in like nonprofits, like Joseph or B. You had him on as well, so like just different people in the community. But I don't know if there's like one person.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I was thinking about that too, and there's like so many people in the community that should be up there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
hmm
that is a tough one. What about you, Misha?
Um, let's see. Well, so I'm thinking about our Pacifica community, but I think if it's Mount Rushmore, I feel like it'd be cool to have like a indigenous, like a Native American person,
Yes.
represented on
Mhm.
their mountain. So I think
Mhm.
that's where my whoever they would choose in that territory, I think that would be really cool. But yeah, when I think about the leaders in our community, it's really hard to pick one. Like my mind goes
Yeah.
to like King David Kalakaua, but
Oh, that
that's
would
just
be a
because I
good
love
one.
hula. So I like, yeah.
Yeah.
So something
Yeah.
like that. What
Yeah,
about you,
that
Nani?
that's a super hard one, and I was thinking of how Nani K. Trask, just to get a
Oh,
woman, and one, I
yeah.
mean, there's so many amazing women, and because she passed recently, she's been, like right there at the tip of my brain. But just
Hmm.
because she was so, I don't know, she was like straightforward and just fought so hard for just watching her, like she was on TV, just telling people off, like didn't care,
She had no
like
shame. We
she
love
had no
her.
shame because she was trying to get people to listen to the truth. And so I,
Hmm.
I think I think that the just having a woman up there, but because how Nani just passed recently, she's been heavy on my mind, and all the amazing work, but really the fight that she had, the
Yeah.
men that are on Mount Rushmore, she'd knock them out. So I was like, that she'd be my guess, really though. So we always start off with a crazy question just to jog the mind a little. But I just wanted to really get in more depth. We'll start with Kamalei. Tell me a little bit about, your family and where you're settled right now, and what you're up to.
Yeah. So both of my parents were born in the islands. So my mom was born in American Samoa, and then my dad was born in Tonga, and they obviously migrated here. And their parents are the ones that came down here because they were looking for better opportunities, and so yeah, it was really interesting. My family moved to Hawaii and then California and then here to Utah, and as they like grew up here, they kind of saw how the Pacific Islander community didn't really have the resources that it needed,
Yeah.
specifically in the mental health field. And
Yeah.
so my dad ended up going to the University of Utah here in Utah, in Salt Lake City, Utah. And him and David Kaili were the first Tongans to graduate with their master's degrees in social work in Utah at this university. And so it was really cool. They went on to David Kaili has his PhD, and my dad's doing therapy, addiction recovery, and all of that. And so yeah, I have three siblings. They're two of them are married, and we've been here, but we run our family company, and it's been really cool to see the Pacific Islander community grow here in Utah.
Oh my God,
And then
crazy.
also just like yeah, how there's different representation. We have doctors now, we have social workers, we've got therapists. And so
Yeah,
it's really cool to be able to grow up and have representation, whereas my parents didn't have that. And
exactly.
so, yeah, our family's really close. They all live here in Utah. Well, my immediate family. And so it's just been a blessing. I got to meet Misha through social media. And so, you know, what you guys are doing is such a great thing. And even though we haven't met in person,
Yeah.
you're doing so many good things to bring people together and connect. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for everything that you're doing there. Thank you, Kamalei. Misha, tell us everything, or everything amazing, and the work that you're doing, and a lot about your family.
Got it. Hi. I grew up in Kaava, Hawaii. So I'm from the North Shore on Oahu.
Yeah.
I'm a Red Raider for life. I my parents' immigration story. My mom was born on Oahu. Her parents moved from Samoa to help build the La'i Hawaii Temple.
Wow.
Um, and then my dad came down for school, so he went to the Big Island first, and then to Oahu, where he met my mom. But majority of my dad's side lives in California now. They live in San Diego,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, so most of us are stateside now. I moved up to the continental United States a little after I graduated high school, and I'm here in Oregon now. About my family, my mom's dad was a wrestler in Hawaii.
Oh,
His name was Neff Mayava,
oh,
and yeah, my family. I'm with I live with my family, so all of us are here in Oregon now, and yeah, that's
Awesome.
about it. That's what brought us here.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that information. So the pandemic, let's talk real quick about the pandemic. Micha, you said that you live with your family all in Oregon, and a lot of Pasifika people live in multi-generational homes. We take care of our grandmother and our parents and our siblings and
Hmm.
nieces and nephews. Um, has your family caught COVID, or how have you been protecting each other and staying in quarantine, if that's even possible? And we'll start with
Yeah.
Micha. Yeah.
So Kamalei and I both live in multi-generational households, and for us, majority of the adults in our house are caregivers. My older sister is an RN. My brother-in-law is a caregiver as well. So is my mom. And so because we work with, I work personally with adults with disabilities. Um, we've been really, really careful. More so, I mean, all of us in the house are okay, but the community that we work with are often immunocompromised. And
Yeah.
so it was helpful that many of us in our house are homebodies anyways. And so we didn't need no excuses to stay home. So I was like, yes, we will stay home fine. But yeah, but we also, so my nephew Rex had passed away in 2020. He had neuroblastoma, which is a cancer that children get. And
So
and so I
sorry.
think, thank you. Um, so I think from watching his journey and understanding how like even a simple cold could have like been really like detrimental to
Major.
his health, like his body couldn't handle it. And so I think it's made us all more aware of like washing our hands, just being mindful, like even if
Yeah.
we ourselves are healthy, that we are making sure that we're doing community care so that others who don't have those like extra things in their body fighting for them, that we can help do our part to make sure they're safe. So that's kind of been our family's mindset. And fortunately, none of us have gotten COVID. We are all vaccinated now.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's been our experience with it.
That's awesome, because you guys are pretty much in the healthcare profession, so you know better, so you do better. And have you been helping other family members possibly that haven't been, or have you found that a problem, that some of your family members outside your home, have they been not as safe and you've had to have that, Come here. Come here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of those conversations. Luckily, I mean, during the pandemic, we live far away physically from
Mm.
family, but we have definitely had many hard conversations with
Yeah.
folks who we feel close enough to um, discuss or tell no with about
Yeah.
safety.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about you, Kamalei?
Um, so we're not as lucky as Misha, and we did get COVID all last Thanksgiving. And so my family, yeah, got COVID, and luckily we, like, even my grandma got COVID, and we recovered really well. Um, we all got vaccinated, and so all of us in our home are vaccinated. And so, yeah, I think it's just really important. I have two aunts that are in remission for cancer, and so I resonate with Misha, like, where, if this pandemic wasn't a thing, we'd still be careful. And so just being like self-aware and also trying to make sure that we're considerate of others,
Yeah.
because we might be able to fight it off, but some others don't have that luxury. And so COVID was really hard, especially since our family are all essential workers, kind of like Misha. So we all still had to go to work because our clients and the groups that we run, like, they still needed services. And so luckily we found efficient ways to do Zoom sessions for addiction recovery.
Yeah.
And so we don't have to worry about that. But in regards to direct care, like, we need to be careful because we just don't know what's going to happen. And so, yeah, we just had family members who got COVID and weren't vaccinated. And I think we all learned the hard way
Yeah.
what happens. Like, you get really sick, you go to the hospital. and it's scary. It really, really is scary. And we don't have that control. It's really hard to not be able to visit our loved ones and like see if they're okay. And it takes a mental toll on them because they're alone in the hospital, wondering if they're gonna make it. And so yeah, we definitely have been inviting others. We don't force others, but inviting others to get vaccinated, because even though it doesn't completely, protect us from getting COVID, it helps our bodies to fight off, the virus and recover faster. So, yeah, it's been a long year for sure, but our clients are grateful that everybody is vaccinated, and it just gives us a little sense of relief that we can make it through.
Yeah. And I think every PI family, everyone has some kind of, I mean, because the numbers were so high for Pacific
Oh
Islanders
yeah.
during the peak, of COVID, and still now, a lot of PIs, because we have underlining, health, like diabetes, high blood pressure, so we're
Yeah.
susceptible to get sick, seriously ill if we catch COVID-19. So I think where we relate is like, I'm a cancer survivor, and Carl, who's not here because he's busy taking care of his wife tonight. So we miss him and wish them well. But because of cancer, my family is like super crazy. Like my husband
Yep.
is an essential worker. So when he come home and come through the garage, take his clothes off, throw it in the wash, and then, and then move around the house, jump in the shower and everything like that. So we were super crazy. But I've noticed that we've relaxed a little, as time has gone on and everybody's gotten vaccinated. I think everybody relaxed, because my husband and myself too, I have to, I relaxed a lot. Like I'm not as crazy, like, don't touch me, don't look at me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now I'm out a little bit more. I wear my mask. I'm still, hand sanitizing and everything. Do you find that, because the numbers are rising, and I think, do you find that our community is starting to be a lot relaxed because we're thinking that the vaccine is the cure when we know it's not?
Yeah.
Are you seeing that a lot?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And is your
I
church?
think it's hard because you
Go ahead.
tell people how to live their life, right? They see that like, oh, I got vaccinated, so oh, good. Now we can have all the gourmets we want. Now we can have now we can throw the big wedding we were waiting for.
Right.
And so it's like, that's great, but like we still need to wear our masks. We still need to social distance and like be considerate of like our older folk who like they can wear a mask and still get sick. So and also the babies. Now the rate for the babies, like the young infants are like, they're getting sick and they're going into the hospital. So yeah, we've just been like, okay, like the babies are coming to, see, but don't anybody breathe on them or hold them, and even though it's kind of like, oh, they don't want me to hold their child, it's just like, no, we're just trying to protect them because we don't know.
I joke that there's a COVID-19 baby boom because of the quarantine. Like so many people have had babies. So like, okay, everybody's in love again. Mish, tell us about your social media journey and what inspires you to do your content. And has it changed from before the pandemic to now?
Yes, to all of that. So my nephew that I mentioned earlier was actually like the inspiration to starting posting on social media at like in the beginning, just because I needed an outlet to process my grief. And so one thing that him and I did was I would vlog his cancer journey. And so we would go on like his adventures or his Make-A-Wish trip, and all of those things were vlogged. And so I found myself dealing with grief in like such dark ways. It just felt like so dark. And I kept thinking to myself, like, if I'm feeling like this and I'm someone who has a great support system, has an amazing husband, like has all of these things, I can imagine how lonely it feels for others who may be suffering or who may be grieving. And specifically in our Pacifica spaces, like, it's not talked about, at least not to me. It was never talked to about to me. It was almost an understanding that, like, you are sad and then you keep going. And that didn't feel like what was happening to me. So I made a YouTube channel. So I was pretty consistent on YouTube for a while. My channel is Love Mish, and it definitely just focuses on all things personal, so like my mental health journey, my physical journey, spiritual things, and then all things Polynesian or like Pasifika and plus size. And it's kind of just been a really cool outlet for me to channel like my creativity, but also to connect with folks. Like, that has hands down been the most rewarding part of social media, is you're making like real friends, like Kamalei, for example, who gets to like be my real life friend. And those are just things I didn't know like my heart needed, but that was where my journey has led me to. And so I'm still on social media, on Instagram and TikTok, and I kind of just like play around, but I found myself in more of an advocacy role. And so I've been grateful to be a part of the Polys and Mental Health team to kind of focus my energies on specific things that can help our community. But that's been my journey so far.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so Kamalei, like, what made you start the Polys and Mental Health? Like, what inspired you to start that?
Oh, so our founder is Ray Pito, and so we just talked to her like before this, but she is from Long Beach, California, and then she moved here to Utah, and she found herself struggling with her own depression, and then she's like, I can't be the only Polynesian struggling with this, and so she started Polys and Mental Health as just like a Instagram page, and she's like, let me see if I can just reach out to people and talk about mental health. And then she planned her first event, and I reached out to her and was like, hey, if you need any help, let me know. And then we've just connected and done events and done a lot of advocacy and provided resources for people. For me, I'm kind of the same as Micha. I lost my grandpa over 10 years ago, and that grief really triggered my depression and my anxiety. And my dad is a therapist, so he was like, you probably should go, because he saw that I was isolating myself and that I wasn't doing the things that I loved to do, like sports or hang out with friends or those things. And so he was like, we should probably go get checked out. And so I went to the doctor, got diagnosed, and then I've been doing therapy since then. And so, yeah, I've just had a love for providing those resources, because a lot of our Pacific Islander community does not believe it's true, like it's real first. And then when they do find out that it's real, they don't know how to deal with it, how to cope. And so Polys and Mental Health has been really a light to Micha and I. Because of Ray, she started this platform. We've been able to help so many people receive therapy, find different resources or support groups, and then advocate for our people, because we want them to know that they're not alone, and because we understand where they're coming from, And so Polys and Mental Health has been, just a beautiful opportunity, a platform to educate and to help our people.
Yeah. Is it, I'm a lot older than you ladies, but we didn't talk about mental health. And I think still today, it's like, it's so, I don't know, it's so amazing to me now that we are starting to make it okay to talk to a therapist, or to talk to somebody about how you're feeling, so that you don't hold it in. Because of course, when you hold it in, it comes out in a different way, whether, alcoholism or, abuse or some kind of crazy way
Yeah.
that it makes its way out. So I love that a lot of the Koviki talk that we've been doing is about mental health, because that people don't know how important it is for your soul and your mind to get right. Because like, and I
Yeah.
was late to this too. If we're not happy, we can't make and we're not making our husband happy. But you know what I mean? Like, if you're not
Yep.
happy with yourself and clear your mind, like
Yeah.
you just, and so it's hard to, like, there's a lot of, physical abuse and that we don't talk about, or just and anything traumatic, like a divorce we are taught, at least my generation was taught to just shut up, sit down, and keep it pushing. You know what I mean? But in the meantime, I'm
Yeah.
holding in all this stuff. Are you finding that more PIs are coming out and are receptive to mental health?
Yeah, for sure. I think at least for most of us, like we were the first in our circles or first in our families to start
Mhm.
um, talking about it. And I think those initial conversations are like met with like resistance, like, nah,
Yeah.
you're fine. Like, you just need to go pray, and a lot of those things. And I don't know why it took most of like my immediate connections to see like a diagnosis and they're like, oh, okay, I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, maybe that's one of those things where like, if you buy a red car, then you see more red cars kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
maybe because I'm like talking about it, I'm hearing about it more.
Yeah.
Or maybe people are talking about it more because they see us like talking about it. And so I don't know. I don't know, but I think I've seen and heard so many brave stories from our friends and strangers and even older family members, which has been really cool. Starting to talk about unpacking trauma and
Right.
um, relearning how we can better handle our issues or our emotions. And yeah, so that's been my experience.
How about you, Kamalei?
Yeah, I agree with Misha. I think that one of my favorite quotes that are one of the clinicians that we work with, Celia Moleni, she always says, name it to tame it. And I think that, like, when we give a name to things, like she always says that if you give a name to things, it allows you the power to tame whatever you're naming. But it's that shame and that guilt and like that pride that keeps us from talking about it, right? It makes it a taboo topic. And so I think that a lot of people, especially like talking to our ancestors, like, or our older um, folk here in, at least in Utah, who I've talked to, is like they have the same similar experiences in regards to trauma. They just didn't know what to call it. Like, we just have a name to it.
Yeah.
And so explaining to them like domestic violence, sexual abuse, like all of those things that could have happened previous in their life, they're like, so that's what it's called. It's not okay,
Yeah.
like, because people just swept it under the rug. And so yeah, I think that people are seeing kind of like what Misha said. The more that we share and talk about it, the more comfortable people are in being brave and courageous enough to share their own stories. And I give so much props to the people that come onto our page and they share their stories. It takes a lot of courage
It
to
does.
share like the hard things, the dark places, and like that have happened, things that have happened in their life. And so I hope like we see like the move towards, healing in our
Yeah.
community. I think we're still somewhat in the survival mode of like when our parents and our grandparents came here and they're like, we gotta make it. We don't have time to be sad. We
Yeah.
don't have time to be depressed. We don't have time to be anxious. Like, we don't have time to deal with those things, but now we have that luxury to do that, to deal with those problems, those traumatic experiences now.
Right. Because they've already done the hard work, when my parents came
Yeah,
over here, that's all they knew was to work to pay for a rent. Where at home, they didn't have to do that. It was like something new and being new to a new country. So they had so much more to battle. And
yeah,
I think we're so lucky, that they did all the hard work for me now. And especially during the pandemic, we really had time to like focus on our, ourselves, and then figure out, like, so many people during the pandemic have come out and said, I'm going to therapy now, which I love to hear that. I love to hear that because you're working on you. You're working on you. So
Mhm.
it's awesome that it's starting to be normal. It's normal to talk about mental health, and how can we help one another. So I love the work that you ladies are doing. So with the where you're at, are you out and about talking? Is it online that you find people? Or are you finding, like, if you're able to get to church, are people because they know what you guys are doing, do you find that they're reaching out to you um comfortably, or just doing that, you know
Maybe in the other room.
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we've had a good balance of both, right,
Yeah.
Mish? I mean, we've got the people who message us anonymously because they
Oh,
don't want us to know and they want resources, and that's online, so through social media. And both of our platforms are personal platforms.
mm,
Alongside Polly's and mental health, like we try to advocate on our own, and then obviously we have the page. Um, but yeah, I think that because we talk about it so often, we're kind of like open books to people. So like just talking with you is the same like we would talk to anybody on the street
yeah.
or like in the grocery store. And so people have like or at church, like people will come up to us and ask us to do panels. They'll come and ask for us to
Nice.
come and share our experiences, or they'll ask for resources. And sometimes they have to do it discreetly because some people don't know how to ask, which is totally
Yeah.
fine. And then other ways, like they've got leaders, like if we're talking about church, like they've got leaders that they don't want to single out someone that's asked for help, like a youth that's asked for help. They'll just create a whole activity about mental health so that anybody that needs the help, they're not singled out, that everybody gets that information because it's valuable. So that's just my experience. And Misha has a different platform with YouTube, so it's different for her.
Yeah, I think my in-person opportunities are probably a lot less than Kamalei or Ray's. Um, One, because our PI community, like specifically where I live, is like non-existent.
Oh, wow.
Um, but I also just don't leave my house as often. I go to work and I go to the store, and that's about it. But my online opportunities to talk about mental health have been great. They've been wide and many like different things. Like there's this app called Clubhouse where we've met many of our friends, virtual book clubs and all these types of things. Um, yeah, so those type of opportunities, we've all been able to hop on panels, which have all been online, which is kind of nice because then you don't have to leave your house.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like look forward to in-person opportunities, and I know that we have a few events that we're trying to plan in the future. But right now, any way that people can get in contact with someone who they feel comfortable, it doesn't even have to be us. Anyone they know can be like safe space for them is always going to be a good step towards like bettering our mental health or breaking these stigmas. So we're just glad that we get to kind of help some people along the way.
Right, right. And now, and I know you said that there's not too many PIs where you're at, but Kamale, because you're online and people see your face, do you find that people come up to you and just start talking to you like they know who you are and you're supposed to know who they are? 'Cause I
Yes,
always
all the
find,
time. And it's you probably have that too when you're like going out and like all of a sudden people are talking to you because you put like stuff on Instagram or TikTok, but it's just like it's great. I mean,
yeah,
let's connect.
yeah,
But
yeah,
at the same time, it is kind of weird or uncomfortable, and we're still getting used to the social distancing, like where there is like you still should, but some people still don't have boundaries. So like they'll
yeah,
come in like, "Hi, oh my gosh, I know you," or "I follow you," and
yeah.
I'll just be like, "Oh my gosh, hi, thank you, we appreciate that." So it's just always like, what do we say? Because it's not something that we really signed up for. I did
Right.
not think that me and Misha and Ray like working together to talk about mental health and like break the stigma around it. Like I did not think that it would have I don't know, just
It would
have
blow
the
up,
impact
right?
that it has.
I
Yeah, so
really
it's
believe
been a
it.
blessing.
It is a blessing. And I think because you three talk about it so often and it's making it normal that people are getting comfortable well with you three, and then they think they know you, but it also opens the door for people to come out and say, oh, you know, it's okay because Kamalei is talking about it. So because always think that people that have, you know, kids that are my own experience, you know, I was molested when I was a kid. And so I always thought, it's just me, you know, keep quiet, don't say anything. And
Yeah.
then when I finally got to talk, you know, I finally was brave enough to talk about it. So many people had as sad as it is to say,
Mhm.
so many people
Yeah.
have had the same experience as me. And not that I'm relieved that it happened to other people, but it was good to know that I wasn't alone and that somebody else understood my
Yeah.
mindset. So I applaud the work that you guys are doing, because people, you know, our community hear you talking, you know, about whatever subject, and you never know, because Carl and I always talk about that. You never know who's listening or who's watching, and just
Yeah.
any little thing, you never know the people's lives that you're saving, because they may not reach out to you, they might not say anything, but I always tell people that you never know the people that you're inspiring and who's watching you and how many lives you're saving. So I really commend you that you continue the talk of saving lives. So Micha, you're pursuing your degree in marriage and family studies. What do you hope to do with that when you're done, when you've completed?
When I've completed, far, far from now.
But
I
it will happen.
it will happen. I was
We've been talking
first of
about
all, I was
school
a
all
very bad
week.
student. So it took me a few years to get back into school. So we're starting slow. I'm hoping to be a licensed marriage and family therapist. Um, I think therapy in general is kind of where I hope to see myself in the future. Though anything with like mental health or helping people with disabilities, anything like that has to do with these type of fields of like interacting with humans and helping, hopefully, is where I hope to find myself. But yeah, I have a long way to go, but I'm slowly working on it.
I know. At least you're in there. You're in there. A lot of, you know, a
Hmm.
lot of people talk about it for a long time before they finally decide to do it. Kamalei, what do you do to really, like, people come to you with all their stuff? Like, what do you do to just chill and get right? You know what I mean?
Me and Micha, actually, we spent all of August doing a self-love month. It was just her and I, and we planned every week to focus on some kind of aspect of self-love. So we did spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. So yeah, I think a lot of people, they come, and I don't mind it, but it does take a toll on you. And so I love spending time with my family. I travel a lot. That's like my go-to. I travel with my best friend or my family members, because we work so hard. And like, it's like, when do you get a break? When do you get a break?
Yeah.
And so, and my dad, and obviously all my parent and my family members are all also in this space. And so we're going on a cruise in November. So like, we work all year just to go on trips together, and get away from the, commotion of the world, and kind of forget about all of that stuff. And so, yeah, those are the bigger things I do. Some of the smaller things that I do is I love to go and play sports. It's a stress reliever for me. The self care that like people kind of cliche like think of is like the nice hot baths and the face masks and the facials, all those things. I also do those. And
Nice.
so you just gotta find your niche of like what really brings you joy. That was our theme this last month. Me and Micha is like, what brought you undeniable joy today? And so it's like making sure that we prioritize at least one thing that we do for ourselves every day, because we have a lot of the load that comes on us.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's like what I do with the small things, and then also the bigger trips.
I like that. I think I'm going to do that too. Find one thing every day that brings me joy.
Yes.
Misha, is that the same for you, or how are you staying, like, keeping your peace of mind?
I really liked our self-love month, um, because I realized that like I will throw myself into helping friends or like really wanting to be there for people, and I never fill up. Like I always forget to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And so this month was a good reminder. I started to challenge myself to go outside at least once a day because I'm a very homebody. And so challenging myself to get like vitamin D and just like be outside and
Oh,
moving my body has been a big thing. And I recently started doing paint by numbers. And so that's
Yes.
been my favorite.
awesome.
Yeah, so just little things like that. Or my one thing for today, aside from this, is I'm gonna go get a animal cookie blizzard from Dairy Queen after this. Like just little things like this that I can like look forward to, but also just that I know makes me happy. And yeah.
That sounds so good because I'm such a foodie person, so food is everything.
Yes.
That's all I talk about. We are on our other podcast. I got like 2 minutes in, I'm talking about what I ate. So I totally
Love
get that.
that.
We
I know.
love that
I
too.
know.
That is definitely self-care.
Yes, yes. I love food. I love Leah Boassa, who's on, says, I love Dairy Queen too. Excuse me. Okay, so for the both of you, how can we continue to destigmatize mental health in the PI community?
You
We'll
want to go
start with
first, Mies,
Kamalei.
or do you want me to go?
You can
I
go.
think the biggest thing is like making sure that you are a safe place for people to come to. Um, I think that a lot of the stigma comes around the shame of mental health, that people think that it's weak to feel, to cry, and to have feelings. Obviously, it's not, because that's a normal human, thing, to have feelings. And so I think, yeah, that's the very first thing, is just making sure that you're a safe place. It's the statements of like, get over it, you're fine, like stop crying. Those are the things that like I know that we were raised that way, maybe, that
That's
like we
hurtful
kind of just like
too.
dust ourselves off, and then it's like, hey, hurry up, like let's go, like you're all right, you're okay. But I don't think that we take enough time to actually embrace those feelings, like and feel those feelings.
Yeah.
We sometimes try to like sweep it under the rug. So that's the first thing that I would say is just make sure that you're a safe space. Even if you don't know how to, we're not asking you to fix their problems, because you probably can't,
Yeah.
but we're asking you to listen and love them. And I don't think that takes much effort. It's free too, y'all. It's free
Yeah.
too. It doesn't cost any money. And so, yeah, that's my biggest thing, is to for breaking the stigma, and then just talking about it. If you're a parent, take the time to check on your kids. Mental health doesn't have to be a mental illness like Misha and I have, where we have depression and anxiety. Mental health, like mental wellness, is taking care of our minds, our thoughts, so that everything else functions well as well. Like if our brain is not doing well, nothing else is going to do well. So taking care of that will, or kind of like what Naki said earlier, our souls, taking care of our souls, ultimately will help us have a like better health and wellness. And so those are my two things: is make sure that you're a safe space, and then talk about it, even if it's in the smallest ways of just checking up on your loved ones.
That's right. That's right. That's good advice. Misha?
I love that. I do think validating, or Kamalei mentioned earlier, name it to tame it, and I think a lot of times we have a hard time putting a word to how we're feeling, and so when we're like ma about things, like so if our kid is embarrassing us, we're embarrassed. We're not. They're not, like we're placing the blame of how we're feeling onto someone else because we can't really identify them
Yep.
all the time. And so traditionally, like you would just salsa them, like you are embarrassing me, and now like but
Yeah.
so it takes a lot of like self-discipline to um look at yourself and think like, hey, what am I really feeling? And am I projecting this on my loved ones? Am I like being mean because I am tired, or I didn't sleep, I didn't eat today? Or am I being mean because so just being accountable to yourself, I think, and identifying those emotions will help us both be safe spaces for people, but would just help ourselves as we're processing things. And there's a video that Kamalei Brown had put out about like empathy. And so it's kind of like in the video, like your friend is in a hole, right? And so being empathetic means like you climb down the hole and you just sit with them. Like you don't have to solve their problems. You don't have to like carry them on your back and like take them out of the hole. Like you're just there for them. Like you share that space with them, like teleba. And like and a lot of times people are like on the top of the hole and like, you'll be okay. At least you have a ladder, like, and all of these things.
The sympathy.
The sympathy. But what we want is for people just to sit with us. And so breaking the stigma is stop being that person at the top being like, you'll be okay, suck it up. Like at least you have, something. And really being able to like sit with people, even when it's uncomfortable, even when we don't understand them, and letting them know, like, I'm going to be here for you, whether you're your happy self or whether you're sad or whether you're struggling. So that person, those people know that they can call on you when they need help instead of like, oh, so-and-so is not going to listen to me. So I think with breaking the stigma, a really like good basic step is to identify how we're feeling and kind of do that self-check-in. Like, is what I'm trying to say to my friend being empathetic, or is it just sympathetic? And how can I make them feel seen without trying to fix them? Because I think so many of us with like mental illness think we're broken. And like culturally, I mean, we've always used words like, what's it in Tongan? Like devolo, like well, when we're talking about people who have mental illnesses, like we equate them to like being possessed or being something, and
there's a iku, like you have a bad spirit in you.
And
or it's a result of the parents' faith or unworthiness or something.
Yeah.
They blame things that has nothing to do with that.
Yes.
So I just think the more we talk about it, the more we realize like everyone at some point in their life will experience mental health issues. But for some of us, we experience that in such deeper ways and longer periods of time, and it comes so often. So because we can all resonate with sometimes like that feeling, it's okay to just sit with them and not try to fix them, because we don't need to be fixed. We just need friends.
I love that, because a lot of the times where my friends tell me their problems, I'm trying to fix it. What can I do? Where do we go? Where can I send them? When really I love just sit and listen. I really believe that like just the listening is like, it would, take like not 100%, but a lot of the relief off of them. I love that. And I learned something new. So I love that. I thought, because I was thinking, oh my God, that's me. I want to fix it. I want to help you. When all they really want to do is talk. And I know that better than anybody is if I'm depressed or I have something that I'm holding up, I just want to talk to somebody. And just saying the words is such a big relief. Like, I don't know how many times I tell people, just talk about it. Don't hold it in, because you hold it in and it builds and builds and builds, and then you're going to snap, and then, you'll be hurt. Another thing I was thinking of, I go on a lot of feeling, like if it feels bad, get the hell out of there. You know what I mean? If you have a bad feeling, like I always think you need to get out of it. Like, I don't know. It's like sometimes when you like, if I talk to somebody, 5 minutes within talking to them, I know whether or not we're going to click or if I have a bad, bad
if
feeling.
you leave drained,
then I just, okay, it was nice to meet you. I'm not rude or anything, but I know I'm not going to be with that person. Like, I think what I love about Koviki Talk is that so far, everybody that we've invited to come on, it's like instant. You know what I mean? Like we get talking, and before you know it, the hour is done, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not done yet. But I love the work that you ladies are doing. If people want to get a hold of you, Kamalei, how can people reach you on social media or email or whatever?
Yeah, so if people want to get a hold of me, they can go to my handle, KFC Brown 21. They can message me on Polly's Mental Health, or email is elevatingpacifica@gmail.com. If they're looking for services like addiction recovery programs, or DSPD services, so people helping people with disabilities, they can go to monaconsultants.com.
Awesome. What about you, Micha?
All of my social media handles are Love Mish. And we all have access to Polly's and Mental Health DMs. So in any way that you want, honestly, you can shoot me a DM and I'll throw you my number if you need it. Like
Awesome.
Yeah. We're very accessible.
And then is the work that you guys are doing, real quick, is it just geared towards Pacific Islanders?
So yeah, initially it was, but we help everyone. We help everyone. So we've had a lot of people outside of our community that have hit us up as well for resources, like for BIPOC or Indigenous resources. So so we help anyone, but obviously we cater to Pacific Islanders. So
we're currently working on oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say we're currently working on building like a list of BIPOC or Pacific Island therapists in different cities, or so that everyone can find someone that they can hopefully trust, that would understand their cultural background. So I think a big emphasis is definitely towards our Pacifica community. But we both have friends who reach out, and we can still use the same resources that we're using towards helping them find someone they can talk to.
That's awesome. There's also, I don't know if you guys know Dr. Tai Fatleava, who also has a clinician and mental health group. So
yeah, they meet. Yeah.
So I think that's awesome.
That's awesome.
It's so freaking amazing. I say this every week. It's so crazy amazing to be Pasifika people right now, because our faces are out there. And I love that, we're clinicians, we're, doctors, we're community workers, we're helping and getting our faces out there so that people see this is what a clinician looks like. This is what someone that's going for their degree looks like, And growing up, it was rare for me to see a professor, a doctor that had the same skin tone as me. So I am so happy. And I say this every week. It is a great time to be a Pacific Islander. Dr. Tai Faleava is on. He says, we have a list of PI clinicians.
Yes.
Let's link up. So we're going to make that happen.
Yes.
We're going to make that happen. That's awesome. I love that. Ladies, I can't even, and I always cry. So I can't even tell you how proud I am of the work that you're doing and the lives that you're saving that you don't even know yet. Right? You don't even know. And everyone that has come on and is shouting you out on social media, just know that we are so proud of you. Let's Kamalei and Mish doing the work to serve and help our community. And that's Falefia Junior Brandon. I'm going to have Brandon on too soon. So
yes.
Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I'm going to let you get back to your family, and I'm going to eat because that's what I do. But we missed Carl today, and Carl, will see you next Monday. You missed Mish and Kamalei, Carl. But ladies, thank you again for the work that you're doing. God bless your journey. Thank you for sharing everything amazing that you guys are doing. And then everyone, follow them on social media. Share this podcast if you've missed any part of it. We are Koviki Talk. We're here every Monday at 5 p.m. Please come back next week.